the Performance Corvette, Glad trash bags, guns? Find out today how we talk about all three of those topics with our guy Sam from Apollo's Creative. Come on in and find out.
Welcome to the Dayton Approved Podcast with Frank O'Neill. This is where the local Dayton businesses get a spotlight.
Welcome to Dayton Approved, where we are exploring Dayton's small businesses and nonprofits that are local here in the area. Yeah. Today we've got Sam Clark with Apollo's Creative. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Well, we're excited to have you on here. It's been an interesting journey. Sam is not only a small business owner, but he is also the producer of this show.
Hey.
So he's been helping us out all along, and we are finally at a stage where we've got things rolling and going good. So yes. I'm very, very happy and excited to have Sam here to experience a wonderful recording of the show.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Truth be told, this isn't the first one we've recorded together.
Nope, not first one at all.
But that's all right. This will be the last one, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, Sam, let's get into what's going on with you and your business. It's Apollo's Creative.
Yep.
He does social media marketing and videography and pretty much anything marketing online, digital-wise.
When it comes to creative visual, we pretty much cover it.
All right.
Yep. And we'll get things printed as well. It doesn't have to be digital, but
yeah.
We'll pretty much anything visual, we'll make it look good.
That's what we like to hear, and you've done a really good job so far. So
thanks.
Yeah, thank you for being able to do it. Now, your mission statement is pretty simple. It's pretty easy. You're all about the quality, the consistency, and the honesty when it comes to doing this type of business. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you're doing, quality compared to others? Yeah.
So one thing with quality, we try to have a whole process with my team under me, because a lot of teams around this area only has one person. And then they get too packed. Too many people, too many companies are using them, and then the quality just lessens and lessens.
Right.
And I see that all the time in this field. And so because I have a team underneath me, we're not taking such a large
So you're not
hit.
compromising on that quality.
Yeah, we're not compromising on that quality.
Well, that's cool.
And so then also, we're really trying to keep up with all the technology. I mean, in this field, it is really hard to do that.
Oh, I'm sure it's evolving quickly.
Oh, yeah, it always is. And I mean, just last week we updated a new computer, or another computer, just constantly changing parts. And then same thing with cameras. We just changed all of our cameras. We had my dream cinematic camera that, I love this thing so much, but I had to get rid of it. It was a thing of the past.
It's time to get rid of that dinosaur.
Yeah. But you know what's crazy? That thing was $12,000 brand new.
Wow.
Yeah, that camera was $12,000.
And what do you think it's worth now? You got rid of it.
I got rid of it for $2,500.
Wow.
Yep.
Big time down depreciation.
Yeah.
So tell us about consistency. I know also you're into consistency.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So with quality, you have to have consistency to bring those fans in, especially when it comes to social media. Once you lose consistency, all those people that were expecting your post is now not expecting it. And same thing with videos and YouTube posting. It has to be on that exact same time every single time, and that comes down to
otherwise you're going to lose those viewers.
Yeah,
they're gone.
And that even comes down to YouTube's algorithm. If you're not going to post every single time at that time, YouTube will start pushing you further away as well. So it's not even just fans expecting you to be on, but it's also how YouTube's algorithm works.
So it's literally punishing you if you aren't consistent.
It is. Yeah, it does.
Wow.
And that's all. Social media is all the way across the board. If you take a week off on social media posting, you're going to definitely see it.
And let's get to the honesty part here of your mission statement.
Yeah. So there's so many lies hidden under. So many companies will be like, oh, how am I doing? What if this happens? And just because people don't want to release bad news.
People are afraid to disappoint people.
Yes.
They really
yes
do.
men or anything like that.
Especially in today's society.
Yep. Yes,
Yeah.
you are completely correct with that one.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be yelled at or anything like that. But if you work and start your relationship with truthfulness, I don't think you will be yelled at. There would be more of a good relationship there
Yeah.
if it starts out with truth.
And honestly, I don't care if someone wants to yell at me. That doesn't scare me.
Well, that too.
I've been yelled at, multiple times. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel good, buddy. Did you get it out?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't do anything to me. Like, I know if I made a mistake or I messed up, it doesn't scare me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have that fear factor anymore. I lost that a long time ago when I was a kid. So, like, I actually kind of get excited when a customer gets crazy on me because it's, like, rare now. Because I'm like, oh, wow, this is an opportunity to really, like, see what's going on in this person's head. Because they're really showing you their hand.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Anger is such a truth teller for the person on the other side of the table receiving the anger.
Yeah.
99% of the time, it's projection. Mm-hmm. They are just projecting on you who they are.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see. Because then they just, like, try to transform they're like, you are me and she. It's, like, wild, dude. It's interesting. So.
Almost like when somebody responds in that way, you almost don't want to work with them anymore because you know they're going to hide something eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, look, here's the deal. Like, everyone gets angry every once in a while. That's cool. I get it. But let's, when the dust settles, what are we doing here? And with most customers, they're super apologetic. They want to be my best friend after, and I'm like, hey, I get it. Shit happens. Like, I was just there to deal with it. So I can handle it pretty good. Some of the deeper stuff, it's harder. I mean, I also think it's a lot easier to deal with an angry customer because it's a customer, right?
Yeah.
Dealing with an angry employee or an angry friend or an angry family member, it's a tougher deal.
Yeah.
It's harder because you're dealing with that person all the time. So
Definitely.
yeah, I don't know how we got into anger, but here we are.
Here we are, though.
Well, you got really good values or core values for your mission statement, so that's really awesome. Let's get to your story. Who is Sam Clark? How did he get in? Why videography?
Yeah.
What's going on here? How do we start? How did it all happen?
So I was about maybe 12 or 13 years old. My dad bought me a Tony Hawk helmet camera. I used to skateboard all the time until I broke my arm in Florida. I actually had to have metal put into my arm and all that stuff. Yeah, Tony Hawk helmet camera. It was pretty much the GoPro when I was 13, 17 years ago, 18 years ago. Actually, a little longer than that. And I started taking this thing and like taping it to a tripod and making short films with it. Okay. And it came with this editing software that was the worst editing software. Like I would sit there night and day to make this 2-minute video for YouTube.
Yeah, it'd probably take like 7 hours.
Ever to export a video, and even cutting it and putting in weird effects, I would have to do such interesting things to make something work. Like record the screen to record this part to then like edit that differently. And oh man, I was on that editing software for so long. And so I finally went from a Tony Hawk helmet camera to one of those like pocket cameras that got really famous in the early 2000s. And they're just like a little flip pocket camera. Would take it to high school, start filming little things there. And then from there went to school for it. Did great at school. I never did good.
You loved it.
Oh, yeah. I never did good in high school or any of my schooling.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. I was definitely one of those learning disability kids.
Same with me.
So I had an IEP.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so I had to go to the old trailer. And you know what's funny is they never told the kids where the kids like me going to the trailer, they were like, oh, we're just not going to tell anyone what that is.
Yeah.
We're just going to let it happen.
Yeah.
And then, I was just thinking about it years later on. I was like, dude, I was going to a trailer. Kids saw me go to the trailer. They're like, what's going on with this kid?
Yeah.
Why is he going to the trailer? What's in the trailer?
What are they doing?
Yeah, what are they doing? So, yeah, it was weird. And I really go back and I'm like, wow, how did our older generation botch that up? Like how did they really, really screw that up? Because it was so isolating. It was so made you feel less than.
It did.
It was really bad.
It was. I had teachers sometimes give me full-on answers. Just say, Sam, write down this answer. Sam, write down this answer, just to get things done.
Yeah.
I never learned anything.
Yeah. They were just like, you are the kids that we will allow to cheat.
Yep.
It
That was
unreal.
exactly it.
And then, yeah, there's like, here's the test. These are what we're going to ask you tomorrow. Here's the answers.
Here's the answers.
And wink, wink, good luck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, like, how do you do that?
So I think what needs to happen, because school is for one type of person.
Correct.
They need to have a hands-on school for the creative people.
I agree.
And,
I agree.
and just split that, because there's people that are book smart and people that are hands-on smart.
Well, we got book smart. We've got, like you said, by learning by doing, which is like street smarts.
Yeah.
And there is a third smart, which
Yeah.
is called financial smarts.
Okay.
And the combination of all three is what you really want. But I've got people I know in my life that are extremely book smart, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you broke?
Yeah.
Well, it's because they
Yeah.
got zero financial smarts, or common sense. They'll just go the opposite way. They have no social awareness. They don't know they don't understand. They're so deep, I think, in that book that
Yeah.
they're living in a theory world. Interesting, cool. I can learn a lot from those people, but those people are, I don't know, they need help.
Yeah.
Guidance for common sense.
Oh, yeah. Like so many people these days want the Yeezys.
Everybody
And-
wants the easy.
Yeah, and if you are on a budget, you shouldn't be buying Yeezys.
Or buying what?
Oh, sorry, shoes.
Shoes, yeah. I thought you said
Expen-
easy. I was
no,
like, what?
Yeezy.
Easy, yeah. Everybody wants to be easy.
Expensive shoes.
Yeah.
If you're on a budget, I was just talking to somebody the other day about this. They're on a budget. They make no money. They're young, and they just go out and buy $400 pair of shoes because they want to look cool.
Yeah.
The whole financial system of what kids are being taught right now is horrible. They know nothing about
Well,
finances.
the finance was never taught. That's the problem. It was
Yeah.
never taught. But yeah, I mean, if they're just learning by observing, they're seeing social media influencers that
Yep.
are guiding them towards what to do for finance, which is in reality turning us into this terrible downward spiral
Yeah.
of just spend, 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 which is, I get consumerism, but there's zero teaching of financial responsibility.
Yep.
And then when you add it to, okay, don't worry about it, go to college, we're going to forgive your loans, you're really not teaching responsibility. So, I mean, you're dealing with
Man.
people that have zero responsibility financially. They don't understand money or dollar bills at all.
Yep.
It's really mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of people at my age now, they're starting to figure it out, but I mean, they're 39, late 30s, 40s.
Yep.
I mean, that's late. Well, they'll probably be okay. They'll probably make it. But, I mean, you see a 20-year-old that financially gets it. Like,
They'll be set.
yeah. I mean, it's golden, but I don't know. It's tough to find that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, back to your story. Sorry, we're getting down this
Sorry,
rabbit
yeah, we
hole.
went way down a rabbit hole, didn't we? So I was in special ed and all that stuff all the way till 12th grade. But then I went to the Career Center, and because that was more hands-on, man, my grades skyrocketed. And that is where I started
Found
more
out where
doing
you were supposed to be. I love
digital
that.
media and all that stuff. I mean, I was already doing camera work with my Tony Hawk helmet camera all before then. But, man, I went straight into digital media. I got, ahead of the class, and I even, taught a couple things there. And I've been called back to the Career Center a couple times to teach as well now. And
That's got to be a good feeling.
it is a good feeling. Yeah, it's awesome. And so yeah, I graduated that, went to college for a little bit, then got married. And at that time, I was doing a lot of car photography because I've always loved the car industry. And so I was doing car photography in Columbus, and I had this dinky little camera doing photos, and then I had a little printer to print out the specs as well. And I would have to stick to these specs because I had to put all this info about the car in there. And my equipment was
Kind of like an auto trader thing. That's what it
kind
reminds
of
me
like an auto trader. Yeah, it was for a different company, but pretty close to like auto
Okay.
trader. Yep. I was really trying to get quality in those photos though, do as much magazine looking photos as possible, because that's just how I am. I didn't want to do just a little dinky Craigslist picture,
Right.
And so,
You know, it's funny. I did that with the furniture industry, and what we did was we used Photo Bucket because Craigslist was sweet.
yeah,
When we started, when at first they were really basic, self-governed, do your own thing. So you could actually code, like when you on your post, you could actually put code in it, and the code would work. So we used Photo Bucket, which would then say, we would then say, give us code.
Okay.
You copy the code. You type as a line of code where you want the picture. The picture would be huge. You don't have to upload the picture; just be upload
I
on the
see what
page
you're
in your ad.
saying.
Yeah, so we hacked it. So we had all these big pictures on Craigslist, and we had such an advantage. And people were like, "Oh yeah, this is great!" And they were buying furniture from us. And finally, they shut that down. But it was a huge competitive advantage that we
Yeah.
had compared to other people. And everyone was like, "How are you doing this?"
how are you making that picture gigantic? Huh,
Exactly.
that's interesting. And so my equipment would stop working every now and then. And I was taking that kind of like a hint from God at that time. I was doing a little work for a church, only making like $100 a week at that time. But me and my wife just bought a house and just got married. And I presented to my wife, I'm like, I think I'm going to be fired because my equipment just keeps on messing up. Or pictures wouldn't be, like when I would come home, all the pictures wouldn't be there or something. Like just some weird stuff.
Yeah.
Or my printer would stop working and I would have to quit just that day because my printer stopped working. And so I told my wife, I think what God really wants me to do, which is a ridiculous thing to think, not ridiculous thing to think God's telling you something, but to think that I need to quit a job and just sit at home and not look for one after I bought a house and got married.
Yeah.
And so
You got all this financial responsibility. You got a family that you're starting.
yeah, normally this should not be the way
The
to
job,
do something.
the job normally comes first.
Yeah.
Now you're kind of got the old cart before the horse going on with yourself.
Yeah, and so, but that is the feeling that I had for some reason, and my wife was on board, which is surprising.
Well,
And so I sat there for 2 weeks just making $100 a week for this church. And a producer that saw my work at that church, I didn't know this producer at all, didn't know him at all. He saw my work and contacted my pastor and was like, I really like these videos
Gotta
you guys
have
are
this
pushing
guy.
out. I got to have this guy. And I had a meeting with him. I ended up producing 5 TV shows with him. And they were decent. We had one big TV show that was actually all the way across the United States on the Sportsman channel. It had 200,000 viewers a week, or something pretty big. I can name off a couple. I ended up producing Gator Man, one called Bloodline Outdoors. I produced them for 3 seasons. I'm Red Dirt Rich, Born to Bow Hunt, all in the hunting industry.
yeah. Some different, so basically multiple YouTube shows.
No, not YouTube.
Not even YouTube. What
That was on Dish Network. This
was big time.
big time production. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. This was on Dish Network and Spectrum and all them.
Yeah, it just came. Okay.
Yeah. So I was now I wasn't in field producing. They would get filmed and then sent to me. And this was before big files could be sent through the internet. They would have to send me about 5 hard drives of footage.
Oh my goodness.
And I would have to search through about 30 terabytes of footage.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
To figure out how to make this show happen.
Yeah, so what I would do...
here's the stuff, do it.
Yeah. Here's all the footage that we filmed. You make a good looking video, and then you tell us what we need to do as talking heads. So do you know what a talking head is? Kind of like what The Office had, where the face was looking at the camera, and they would just talk straight to the camera on what just happened. So that's what I would do. I'd take the show, make a story myself out of the footage that they would give me.
Oh man.
And then I would write down, okay, this guy needs to say this to the camera. This guy needs to say this to the camera, and 50 times through the whole show. And then I would tell them, you guys need to go record yourselves talking to the camera, kind of about what you are doing throughout the show and narrating.
Wow.
Yeah. And that one was Bloodline Outdoors. That was the biggest show that we had. And that was doing really well. We had Hornady as a which if nobody knows what Hornady is, that is the biggest ammo company there is.
Oh yeah, I know that company.
Yeah. We had them. They're our largest sponsor for that show.
Okay.
But yeah, that kind of got my show rolling, or my company rolling. So just starting to produce TV shows, and then from there, those companies would come to me and be like, do you know a graphic designer? And I would say, yeah, I graphic design. Do you know a website builder? Yeah, I can website build. Do you know a package designer for our products? Yeah, I know how to do that. And so these sponsors would come to me, or these people that would these other companies would start seeing my name on the credits or anything like that. And they would start coming to me for other than videos. And I just started saying yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, just say yes, we're going to figure it out.
Yeah. And so then that's kind of how I built my company, and being able to provide anything visual and good looking. And then it was right during COVID. My brother was like, Sam, I kind of need a job right now. Company, because of COVID, laid me off and all this stuff. And so he started working for me. And then more and more work started coming in. We started growing. And then another company came to me and was like, hey, I have a spot in the building. If you need it, you can have it. And I was helping them brand and all that stuff. And so we took that spot, got our own studio. And that's where we're at now.
But here you are, Beaver Creek, Ohio.
Yeah, it all kind of just laid out for me. I didn't really have to go searching for anything.
Well, that's how it works with God's plan.
And that's exactly where I was going. And so if you're truthful, and if you are steady, and you just make sure you go and listen. Listening is such a big thing for me, especially when it comes to God. Even though you'll never really hear God's voice. That is not a thing.
Yeah.
You don't actually hear his voice. But more if something just happens just automatically. It's kind of like, that I can see that as God helped me out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about you in the community. You said you provide more than just media work for the community.
Yeah.
I know you got an intern now. Why don't we talk a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah. So I always like to help out my community, especially wherever I live, just helping out that whole area. So with churches or organizations, we always help out a couple organizations in our area that deals with any websites, videos, or graphics. But then if they need more, if they need help, I'm there to help. So one organization just came to us, and they found a kid that was 18 years old. He was in the foster care system, and right when he turned 18, literally at 12 at night, his foster parents said, "You're not allowed to live here anymore," and just kicked him out. Goodbye. Yeah. And so he was on the streets. This organization took him and started helping him out, and they know that I like to help, so they were like, "Sam, can you just help him with a job for now, and he'll intern for a little bit." And try to get him back up on his feet again, or at least in your industry, because he's interested in our industry. And I was like, yeah, bring him in. We'll try to hold his hand for a little bit and see if we can push him along.
Figure out.
Yeah. But even if it's not dealing in my industry, just helping out churches or anything like that, we love to do it.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, it's good that you're helping that kid out. Man, that's tough. 18 gets the boot. Wow.
Just right when he turns 18, you're out of here.
Bye.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. He's had a pretty rough life.
Well, it's good that you gave him a little bit of hope, and obviously you probably had a calling there to say, hey, so let's get this guy in here.
Yeah, if you want to talk about another crazy story like that.
Yeah.
One time I was working for this other Christian organization, and I went to Best Buy to buy a drone because I needed a new drone. And a guy walked up to me. He was like, why do you need a drone and all this stuff? And he was like, well, I actually fly a drone. I'm a drone operator. And he's like, why don't you just hire me instead of buying a brand new drone? It's like, sure, show me your work. Oh, that looks cool. Yeah, just show up at this place next week. That's the only interaction I had with him. He showed up there. He flew this drone. I only like said a couple sentences to him. 5 months goes down the road. I get a call from him. He's crying. And he's going, Sam, I never talked to him about any of this. Sam, I assume you know God. And I actually didn't know who was on the phone.
Yeah, you're like random number.
Yeah, it was a random number. I
Wow,
didn't
not
save his
saved
number
or anything. Yeah.
And I felt bad. I did end up saying, "Who is this?"
Hey, who this?
Yeah. But he was like, Sam, I assume you know God, and I think God has given me a second chance. But he was shot while filming a video in Springfield with an AK-47 in a drive-by. It wasn't even meant to hit him. It hit him like right in the shoulder, like really close to the heart. And the hospital approved him to go meet with me to run him through like a couple like biblical things and try to like start his life correctly. And so he had to have an IV with him and all that stuff when you came and met with me at a restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, just like crazy things like that. Like I didn't even tell him that I was a Christian.
Yeah.
He just assumed. He just knew.
Wow.
And yeah, he was like, I assume you know God, and I think God has given me a second chance. Can you help me out with this? And so I ended up hiring him actually for a couple months, and then he went back to work in other areas.
Wow.
But yeah, funny enough, he just contacted us back today. It's been about 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. A year and a half to 2 years. He contacted us back today and was like, hey, you helped me out a ton. He actually contacted my brother, who still works for me. Hey, you guys have helped me out a ton. I would like to take you guys out to eat. So on Friday, we're actually eating out with him.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty cool.
Well, that leads us right to the next part, which is, what makes you different and your team. It's your team. And wow, you already told some crazy stories about your team and ex-members of your team. But,
yeah.
But tell us a little bit more about how your team really differentiates you from other media, places out there. I know that for me, I know you kind of briefly talked about it. You deal with I've dealt with one-man bands or just one or two people in it, and unfortunately, I've had to fire a lot. I mean, I've probably fired and gone through more social media companies than I've gone on dates.
Yeah.
Like, it's unreal how everyone promises the world.
Yeah.
They say they're going to do this, they say they're going to do that, and then all they want to do is collect some money on a monthly basis and then do nothing.
Yeah.
Literally. And then say, well, and they give you all these excuses, and then they promise you all these new things. And it's rough. But anyway, let's talk about your team, because you said you got a great team, and, the team is what makes you different. So
it is. So in this area, everybody's one-man or two-man teams. I know, there's maybe a couple, one or two media companies in this area that are and they have large teams. Most of the people don't use them unless they're Glad or somebody huge, I don't know why I just chose Glad.
Glad. Okay.
Because that's not always true with them. But yeah, we have a 3-4 person team counting our intern right now. But yeah, it's the team behind you, because majority of teams here are one-man shows, and they're just trying to do it all, and then they're going to get way too overfilled with companies reaching out to them, and then they're just eventually going to have to drop that company that they've had a contract with for 4 years or whatever.
They've got to drop them because they're going to getting bigger fish.
Yeah, getting that bigger fish. Yep.
It's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. And so I don't want to do that. I don't want to drop the smaller fish.
No.
Like that's horrible. You're dropping that small company. You're hurting your local your local community.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally what you're doing. It's local community relies on local people to help them out.
Yeah.
With local problems, essentially. I mean, we're the ones over here doing this. I couldn't imagine a media company from, somewhere else taking care of doing, some stuff you could do.
Yeah.
I get. There's a lot of virtual stuff you can do. But realistically, there's a lot of hands-on stuff that still needs to be happening.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that was interesting that you just said, you couldn't imagine hiring a non-local media company. I worked for a company once. Well, I still work for them. They had the same marketing company that works for Disney. doing all their work. And that's like, that media company's down in like Florida
Yeah.
with Disney. And they were just doing horrible. And
I'm sure.
They were having to, like, fires constantly in their social media work, like that they were just having to put out daily. And I was contacted, and they were like, can we have a local media company and all this stuff? The same marketing company that Disney has is doing horrible for us and nonstop messing up. And then I took it over, and now it's amazing. It works out real well.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, people get over leveraged, and that's how it is. And you got to have that local touch.
Yeah, you have to have the local. Yeah. You have to know how the local people think here.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
a big advantage.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to hire a company in Miami to market towards Dayton.
No. No, you're not. No, I mean, you could, but then it would be a problem.
It would be a problem. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some successes that you've had, some recent milestones you've hit. I know you've worked with a bunch of different people.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about, you got this Corvette thing going on.
Yeah. So we do a lot of work for a company called Forge Line. They're a Dayton company. Well, they were on like last year's Mustang, GT3 Mustang, and now they're on next year's Corvette, GT3 Corvette, or Z06 Corvette.
Okay.
And so they're on Pratt and Miller's, or not Pratt and Miller's, sorry, Pratt Miller's. I always want to put that in there. I think they used to have the N. I think they took it out. But Pratt Miller up in Michigan is the one who designed that Corvette for GM. It's real close to GM's factory.
So is this like a brand new Corvette that's being created?
Yeah, brand new Corvette that's coming out next year. It's actually already out now.
Yeah.
And so Forge Line wanted us to make a whole video about this Corvette. And so we were sent to Pratt Miller up in Michigan, got to film all the Corvettes and all these secret parts that they didn't want out, which was really cool. And we were the first ones that have been able to fly a drone in their factory. Nobody else has ever been able to fly a drone in their factory, which is
huge.
I thought was pretty cool. And so they actually asked footage. They were like, we need that footage. Nobody's ever been approved to do that yet. And so that was really cool.
Cool.
And that footage of all the Corvettes sitting there in a line.
Yeah.
You have the drone going right over all those Corvettes.
Oh, wow.
And in the assembly line. Oh, it looks so good.
Oh, I'm sure. I can imagine the commercial now.
Yeah, I'm excited to get it done. It's in the process.
Now, were you able to get to drive the Corvette? That's the $1 million question.
No, we weren't able to drive the Corvette yet. Hopefully someday. We do try to get into the cars.
You got to figure out a video that requires you to drive.
Yeah, I need the shot of the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And I have to have the hands on it. You're not allowed to hold my camera.
No,
only me.
Yeah, the camera's expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not more expensive than this Corvette, sir.
That's
Not
true.
more expensive than this Corvette.
That's true. And so maybe another successful thing, or a thing that I'm excited that we're working on.
You said the Marines, right?
Yeah. We were just hired to go film the Royal Marines.
Oh, the Royal Marines.
Yeah. We still had to go to Washington, D.C. for it. And we still had to get a pass. Our pass did have a British flag on it, though, which was kind of cool. We still have it. We hung it up on the wall.
Yeah, that's cool.
But, we were hired by an app that the Royal Marines use, and they were over in the U.S., and they wanted us to film them playing soccer.
Yeah. So you got a good old soccer game under your belt.
Yeah. So that was an interesting one and a fun one, just because we can say we worked for the Royal Marines.
Yeah, I mean, that's a random thing.
Super random. And then another good one is Procter & Gamble with Glad trash bags.
Yeah, so tell us what's going on, or what you did with them.
Yeah. So that was an older contract, but still really cool to talk about. So Procter & Gamble is located in Cincinnati, and then their Glad trash bag facility is kind of like closer than Cincinnati, but it's one of their satellite buildings. Procter & Gamble owns 20% of Glad, and Clorox owns 80%. But Procter & Gamble runs the design side of it and video side and all that stuff, or marketing side.
Yeah.
And so I had a 1-year contract with them to try to get their Clorox team back up and because they got really pushed down with Clorox because they were also working on Clorox. And so they said they just needed a person to help them catch back up. Once I catch them back up, that contract is gone. If that ever happens again, they'll hire us back, they said.
Yeah.
And so I got to make a sales kit. So for it's out now, so I can talk about it. A stretchy sandwich bag. So kind of like a Ziploc, but it's stretchy.
Now, was this the bag that you were like, maybe it comes out, maybe it doesn't?
Maybe that was it. Yeah. So yeah, it is out now, which is cool. And so I made a sales kit for them to show Walmart, this is what we're going to need you guys to sell for us, or this is how it's going to look on the shelves, and the whole presentation that they would show to Walmart and Target.
That's exciting. It's a lot of work, but that's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and I made it look real cool. I made it look like a countertop, and then a drawer would pull out, and that countertop would fold back.
Oh, that is awesome.
And it would all fold out with all their info across it. And then once you would bring that countertop up on a hinge, underneath it was the bags all laid out.
Oh, wow.
And real nice looking and presentable. So I designed that. And then I also helped with a product that's not out yet. It's a product of the clean wrap that they use, or the press and seal. That's actually what they call it.
The press and seal.
The press and seal. It's a version of that, and I actually helped design that product. I don't know if it's ever going to come out. It's not out yet, but I can't talk about it because of that.
I see.
But I actually designed the actual product. I drew it up and everything.
Wow. So you did it.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
You better get some royalties for this.
I wish. They threatened me one time.
Did they?
They did. They
said, "You're not getting crap, buddy."
Yeah. Well, one of the people
this
there.
This is ours.
Yeah.
You made it while we were paying you, so now it's ours.
Now it's ours. Yeah. I signed all the documents.
Oh, wow.
Everything. But yeah.
Of course they would.
One time after a meeting that I had with Clorox, it was Glad and Clorox, a meeting with them too. And at that moment, I was saying, I shouldn't be in this room. I should not be next to the leading team for Glad and the leading team for Clorox.
You're the guy in the middle.
I should not be in this room. But after that meeting, she was like, if you say anything about that meeting, we'll get you. And she told me the price that they would get me for and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of course, scare tactics.
Yeah.
Fear.
Yep.
Come get me. That's what I'd say.
They were really.
I'll be in Beaver Creek.
They were always really nice people, though. They always had cake. I would just walk in and get a piece of cake.
I hate cake.
Oh, well, if you have good cake.
I'm joking. Okay, this is a serious question. For cake, are you a buttercream guy or are you the whipped cream guy?
Whipped cream.
Oh, I'm a buttercream guy.
Get buttercream out of here. Oh, that texture.
I knew I'd find something I hated.
Get it out of here.
No, it's funny because it's interesting how people are so different in those two areas for cake.
Yeah.
And I mean, no, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm a buttercream
You're
guy.
buttercream. I will still eat buttercream. I won't avoid it.
You just don't prefer it.
I don't prefer it. Yeah.
It's very rich. I will give you that.
It is very rich. I actually don't like the texture more.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes, especially if it's homemade, it has that grainy feeling.
Of course.
Yeah. And I actually don't like
it's like straight
that
sugar,
texture.
didn't get melted into it right. Yeah.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about. It's almost like a molasses thickness. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's bad buttercream.
That's bad buttercream.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Get it out here.
Now, Alex and Annie is another company you work with. Mm-hmm. Who are they? Because before today, I didn't even know who they were. But apparently, they're actually a pretty big company.
Yeah, they are. They are a very large company. I designed their soap bottles, their packaging for their soap bottles. But yeah, Alex and Annie usually not usually. They do have a big contract with Disney. They make all their Disney jewelry. They're in like the top 10 jewelers in the country. They're pretty big. Usually women know about them. Us guys don't care about Alex and Annie usually.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. I had no idea who they were.
Yeah. But in any jewelry store, you'll usually see something about Alex and Annie sitting in one of the cases. So yeah, I designed their packaging for their soap bottles.
Okay.
Which that was a cool one to do too, and just to say that I worked with Alex and Andy is pretty cool.
Yeah. By the way, anyone that is a representative of these companies, they'd like to sponsor Dayton Approved, we are opening that up as an opportunity. No, and that brings me to the last two guys, or I should say, things that you do that you've said before was, obviously you're the producer for here, so you do podcasts. So I'm not the only podcast you do. You do them for a couple different people. I know Greg McAfee, which is a local guy here.
Yep.
I actually know Greg myself. Great guy. We did some business together for a charity, helping out with some mattresses. So I appreciate him and everything we've done in the past. And then also Dr.
Yoon.
Dr. Yoon. That's how you say
Yoon.
it. And Dr. Yoon's a big one.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Yoon's huge. He has 8 million subscribers on
8
TikTok.
million.
Yeah, he's huge. I think I looked him up once. I think he's in the top 200 largest YouTubers.
Wow.
Yeah, which is
And
crazy.
you run all his podcast shows?
Not all of them. He has a team of editors.
Oh, okay.
We're just one of his editors.
Gotcha.
But we've done over 250 videos of him.
Right.
Yeah, so we've done a lot of work for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've done all the animations for him and all that fun stuff. And he's a super nice guy. Every time we talk to him, he's really nice to work with. He's nobody that will bring anger into a conversation or anything like that. But yeah, if you search Dr. Yoon, usually nobody knows his name, but once they see his face,
they know.
They're like, oh, I see him all the time. I've
Yeah.
seen that guy. Yeah, especially when Squid Game came out.
Yeah.
Squid Game, he got huge because he looks very much like the main character.
Yeah, he does. I was going to say he really does.
Yeah. So he did a bunch of videos of him on Squid Game and all this
That's
stuff,
funny.
and that got really big.
Yeah.
And then Greg McAfee.
And then Greg,
Yeah, we do a lot of work for him. Do all of his podcasts, do all of his graphics, and then also for McAfee Heating and Air, we do. Made his new logo. And then his new plumbing commercial, because he just introduced plumbing. Mm-hmm. We made that commercial and run his whole social media for for McAfee Heating and Air as well.
Nice.
But yeah, Greg's a real nice guy.
Yeah,
He's good
absolutely.
to work
I've
with.
had nothing but good experiences with them. So I have good love him. Love the guy.
yeah. It was actually just yesterday. I saw that my neighbors were getting a new furnace put in by McAfee.
Oh wow!
And I was like, oh, nice, you're using McAfee, and they were like, yeah, and they didn't know I do a lot of their stuff when it comes to marketing on social media, and they're like, yeah, we just love the guy. That was the first thing they said.
Yeah,
that's the reason why we use McAfee. He was like, we just love the guy. He was real nice. They don't know him. He was just like, we just love what we hear on the radio and love what we hear on TV.
Yeah,
and that's all put out,
Yeah.
And so that's why they use McAfee, because the good branding and marketing
absolutely
that is put out by McAfee.
Absolutely.
Yep.
No, that's cool. So that's great. Definitely a lot of local businesses, some big guys that you've talked to as well, or you brought into as far as success. So that's really interesting. So before this, I didn't really know all, or I'm sure there's more.
There's a ton more. Yeah.
But those are some really awesome nuggets to have there.
Yeah.
Now, kind of a flip note, let's talk about some struggles. What's going on? Everyone is a hot button topic is the economy right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we do know that the economy is, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're in a recession.
Yeah.
So it's definitely affecting all industries now.
Oh yeah.
So, we obviously have that going on, but what else are you still dealing with? Mm-hmm. That's, rough for your industry.
So yeah, just trying to, because I want to make sure my employees are happy as well. And so constantly I'm like, I need to start paying them more. I need to start providing more. And I always have that in the back of my head because I know they're struggling as well. And so I'm just trying to keep on getting that sale to try to pay my employees more, somehow provide more for them. Mm-hmm. So that's one struggle because the whole economy is just requiring more money. And that seems like everybody's struggling just across the board. Yeah,
and I think about that too. How do I make these guys' lives better?
Yeah.
Because if I can make my employees' lives better, that means the positive consequence is my life will be better.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to be a billionaire. Well, that means you got to have several multimillionaires below your belt.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Working for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how it works. So it's really very simple when you get into that mindset of thinking that way.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, do not think that my best interest isn't getting you more money, because I fully understand the positive consequence.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. And so, I mean, like maybe a month ago or maybe 2 months ago, the problem was finding somebody good to work for me.
Right.
And I was.
It's a struggle out there now.
It's a struggle. You can't find a quality person, and like everybody that just comes to you, just I don't know, they're just not willing to put their all into it.
It's weird because like you'll find someone that's awesome, but then they won't show up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you'll find someone that will show up,
Yep.
but then you have to hold their hand. They suck.
They hold it. Yep.
And it's like, why can't I find someone to do the basics
Yeah.
and also be really good? Like, why can't we? Where are you? What's going on?
Yep.
I don't know if that's because people think that they're worth more than they are. I don't know if it's because something happened where it's like, doesn't matter because I make money doing other things that are a lot easier. Maybe it's not as much money, but it's easier.
Yeah. I think a lot of people
I haven't figured out exactly where that like happy medium is.
Yeah.
Quick side note, I know a lot of people are doing like DoorDash, which blows my mind, right?
How is that profitable?
It's really not. And here's where it gets even crazier. People like it because it's like, you know what? I don't have to have a schedule. I can do what I want. I can just wake up whenever and then start delivering food. Well, DoorDash has so many people door dashing now because the economy is that bad that they are making people schedule.
Really?
Yep,
Schedule?
You cannot just jump on the app and start delivering.
I did not know that.
There's so many people delivering food right now.
Wow.
And less people paying to get food delivered. It's a combination of both.
Yeah.
That they're now scheduled drivers.
I didn't know they were doing that.
Yep,
That's pretty crazy.
That's where we are. So it's there, boys and girls.
Yeah,
it's here.
We're here.
We're here.
And so I also think it's a combination of like when during COVID, Target was saying starting pay at $25. McDonald's was saying starting pay at $19.
And that's not even real.
It's not real. No.
No, it's not real. Like, I know for a fact that I know someone that just got a job and their starting pay was $14.50.
Yep.
And they're 35 years old.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's
ridiculous.
Don't sit here and say you're getting $20 an hour. No one's getting $20 an hour.
Yeah.
They're advertising it, but it's not happening.
Well, say they were doing that maybe during COVID, but now those companies that were doing that are now laying off mass amounts.
Yeah.
So
and
like,
what they're doing is they're hiring people at $14 an hour and they're replacing those $20 an hour people.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, but they kept the price high.
Yeah. They're keeping the price up. But everybody saw those prices and was like, well, I want that price.
Yeah.
And trying to requiring it for all the other companies. And yeah, it's not true. Like my wife has a bachelor's degree in teaching and she's a teacher at a school. She doesn't even get paid $20 an hour. It's underneath that.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, she's the highest paid person there. Yeah, and she's a teacher. That's where we need the money.
Yeah.
That ridiculous stuff. But now we do have. I have found a couple employees, and man, they're awesome. I mean, I searched for a while. One of my old employees came back after graduating. I've
had those.
College.
I call them boomerangers, B-backs.
Yeah. Oh, he's such a good worker. And I'm like, I need to keep this guy. This guy is incredible.
It's good.
Yeah.
You're in BNI.
Yep.
One of your networking groups. BNI's great. I was in it for 7 or 8 years. Took a little sabbatical. And I'm going to be coming back here soon. I'm excited about it.
Nice.
I love BNI people. I love the networking aspect. I love the philosophy.
Yep.
Givers gain. I mean, come on.
Yep.
That's so true.
It is.
And it's very, what do they call that, altruistic point of view or life philosophy. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I could be making words
You're
up.
just making this up.
I make things up sometimes, but I say things wrong. That's part of the learning disability, folks. See, that's why I went to the trailer, okay? Nobody was there to correct me.
It's so true.
Yeah, BNI, let's talk about that. Like, what do you do there, and how do you help out people there?
Oh, yeah, I love BNI. And it's just nice seeing different faces as well, and being able to meet with them throughout the week and trying to help other small businesses out. It's pretty much back to that helping your community, because it's all small businesses going to BNI.
Right. Just banding together.
Yeah, just banding together.
Just like what we want to do here on Dayton Approved.
That's exactly. This is almost like another version of BNI, just spreading out further.
Yeah, it's, well, kind of. BNI is a little bit more like a business organization board meeting kind of thing.
That's true.
Where here is more of just like, let's hear your story, and we're all connecting in a different way.
Yeah, a more loose version of it.
Yes, I guess we call it that. And also churches.
Yeah, I
do a
really
lot of
try to
stuff
help
for
out with
churches.
that. Yep, definitely. And that comes back down to helping out organizations that need help and helping out your community, just providing help with churches and organizations. Yeah, definitely.
Well, tell us about this project that you've got going on, though. You do have a new project, and it's B5 Systems that you're working on, and I know you're pretty excited about it. So
yeah. So we do a lot of work in the automotive industry and outdoor industry. So I produced 5 outdoor TV shows, done a ton of commercials in that industry as well. So B5 Systems is a gun parts manufacturer, and we just did a whole photo shoot for them. Man, those photos came out so good looking. I was so happy about them. And then we just did a commercial for them as well, and man, just knocked it out of the park. It just looks so good. And
oh man, I gotta see it. I can't wait to see it. I think I saw one of the pictures, and I was like, wow, that looks awesome.
Yeah, I think I showed you one of the pictures. I'll have to show you a couple of them.
Yeah, well, you have to show some on here.
Yeah, on here too, definitely. But I'm excited to start working with them more.
Nice. Now, did you get like a contract with them for X amount of time, or this was just kind of like a little trial? Let's try this out.
This was a trial that they were running us through, and it seems like we got it because they just emailed me back yesterday, or maybe the day before, and said, "Hey, we're having a new product come out. Can you do the photos for it?"
Wow. So they're jumping on board.
There we go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, how do we get a hold of you, Sam? I mean, how do you get involved? Like, how do we say, what if somebody's like, hey, I want to start a podcast? Or what if somebody's like, I just need you to help me with my social media? How do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, so apollos.net is our website. So that's, well, you'll see it at the bottom, but it's APOLLOS.net.
Okay.
And yeah, you'll see it right here as well.
Yes.
And then, you can even call me, 937-305-3526.
Putting it out there. I love that.
Putting it out there. Or email me, Sam at apollos.net. Pretty easy. Just Sam. And you can contact me through any of those ways.
Well, that's good to know. And what about sending us off on a positive note here? Do you got any good advice for anyone, or how you'd like to end the show with something great?
Yeah. So I know there's 2 things that I try to live by. So listening first, speak later, and try not to have any anger in that. Try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. That's helped me out so much in business and in life and in marriage. That's like the first thing. Listen first. Speak later. Yeah, you have 2 ears for a reason, 1 mouth.
That's right. That's right. The old lesson.
Yep. And so that is one of my points. And then also just something that like leaning on God has got me through this whole business. To not work for 2 weeks because I just felt like God wanted me to do that.
Yeah.
If I kept on working and not working for that church, I would have never got that producer, and I never would have got that next job, and then building this.
Yeah, I mean, there's
company.
no way you could see that at the time, but you gave that trust, and it paid dividends.
Yeah. Yep. And so the whole way through this whole business has been just leaning on God, even down to the building that we're in right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And sometimes I'm like, hey, we should be looking at another building, and then I'm like, but should I? Should I be waiting for the next one to come? And I guess that's just in between you and God.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I stand.
Yeah, I always say, your intuition, that's where he is.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
That gut, that's where he is.
That's the gut. Yep. Yeah.
It really is. So,
yeah.
Cool. Well, it's good advice. It's good having you on the show.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully we don't have to record it again,
This is the last time recording it.
unless there's a new business.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Sam, until next time, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Subscribe and follow to our Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform. Be sure to sign up for our email list and receive an email to watch the show. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Do you know a great Dayton business that you would like to see on the show? Visit our website at DaytonApproved.com and click on the Contact tab and tell us who you'd like to see.